Why is there so little opposition to it? So the opposition to capitalism can be of two types. Opposition to capitalism can be of two types. Internal opposition and external opposition. So, for example, Marxism is, I would regard it as internal opposition because Marxism agrees with capitalism on the basic need for the divinity of humanity and the basic need to overcome scarcity and commitment to accumulation for the sake of accumulation. What Marxism argues that liberal or neoliberal political system and economic systems actually waste this potential, the huge potential which is created by capitalism. So that's the internal opposition. But then you can have external opposition. External opposition, like for example, Islamic position or Orthodox Christian position. Orthodox, by Orthodox I don't mean Orthodox in the narrow sense, but Orthodox in the Christian position before modernity, for example, before it succumbed to modernity. Islam and Christianity both reject the idea of human divinity. Or obviously, Christianity doesn't reject it wholeheartedly because at least it thinks that there was one human being who was also a god, and that's basically what paved the way for this whole idea of the deification of human being to a certain extent. But Islam obviously totally rejects any idea of human deification. And both Islam and Christianity also reject the ideal of accumulation for the sake of accumulation and regard it as a satanic, devilish, demonic ideal. Accumulation for the sake of accumulation, the ideal, which basically is the idea of creating a kingdom of ends in this world which will never which will last forever, for example, al-mulku la yabla. And the commitment to human divinity is a devilish, because it's basically a divinity of the devil itself, really. So the opposition capitalism can be internal as well as external, and he doesn't seem to make this distinction here, not so far anyway. Why is there so little opposition to it? So when he talks about why there's little opposition to it, I guess in theory he's talking about both internal and external opposition. I mean, there is internal opposition, but obviously Marxism was defeated, at least in Soviet Union and China. I mean, in China it wasn't defeated, but it reformed itself. So why is there so little opposition, or at least opposition which is strong enough? And obviously, I don't know what's his answer to it, but at least he goes back to what Marcuse said about Marcuse, and in his One-Dimensional Man and other books. And what I had, obviously I haven't read Marcuse for a long time, but what I had learned from him, I had understood from him was that the idea that capitalism has the power to incorporate its opposition through providing them with a place under the sun, so to speak. So, for example, the union movement was focused on labor rights. So by providing, for example, welfare rights, capitalism actually incorporated those potentially system resisting movement or system potentially movements which were aimed against the system and made them into part and parcel of the system. So I think that's sort of, it seems like this Professor Hahn's article is in the similar as Marcuse's One-Dimensional Man and other writings. But we'll see.